We're live and
Can
we're
you hear me
good.
now?
All right, we're back. We are now starting the preseason award show. We're going to be going through pretty much a lot of our hot takes. We're going to be pretty bold with this award show. We're not going to go with the obvious takes here. If we're going to be talking about the best wide receiver, we're obviously not going to tell you that Michael Thomas is the best wide receiver. We're going to go with our gut feelings for some guys that could really end up finishing as that top spot at some of these positions. We're going to go through a bunch of awards, run through it, and pretty much just get right into it here. Um, let's just start it off. Let's just run into it here. The first award has to go to, we're going to start off a little bit slow, best defense and special teams. Now, obviously, this could really be anything. I'll start it off here. My best defense is going to be the Chargers defense. I think they can finish at number one. The only thing that stops them would be the Chiefs offense for 2 weeks this season. But other than that, they have a pretty easy schedule. They have one of the best corner duos in the league with Chris Harris Jr., Casey Hayward, and they also have
My
Derwin James
God.
coming back from injury. They got Joey Bosa at defensive end. They still have Melvin Ingram. They are just stacked on defense, and that's really going to be what they're going to have to thrive on this year. I think they could really finish number one. Who do you guys have as your best defense?
Uh, First of all, let me point out that I'm not dressed to the occasion. I am wearing a tie. It is a clip-on. But if you checked our Instagram, Super Fantasy Podcast, you will see that I am dressed to the nines there. Um, but the defense I'm going with, it's very bold. Is the Dolphins. They've made many off-season moves. Byron Jones on cornerback, Kyle Van Noy, Shaq Lawson, and they already have Xavier Howard. They did finish last in fantasy defenses last year, so they can only be up from here, and their team is a lot better. So I don't think they'll be on the field as much. Um, so I think at least top 25. They're still going to be a streaming defense regardless, but that's who I'm giving my award to.
Top 25. There's only 32 defenses, buddy.
Top
Yeah,
20
for
is very
sure.
hot.
I think they could be pretty good, especially with their easy schedule. Their division stinks now, so
Yeah, that's exactly why I'm taking the Eagles defense because our division is absolute garbage. Maybe aside from the Cowboys, they give me a little worry, but I think with the addition of Darius Slay and the key factors that we still have in place, I think we'll be all right. And we always seem to find ways to score on punt returns, kick returns.
We got
So
Djax
mm,
yeah,
exactly
for sure.
one of the
Definitely.
best returners in the league.
and
The
Rager.
Yeah, the Eagles definitely have
Yeah,
some
when he
speed.
comes back from being dead.
All right, on to the next award, best kicker. So this one's obviously for fun here. Kicker is really kind of any position for fantasy. It's it's just to get in points. I'll let you start it off this time, Q. Who's your best kicker?
Well, I guess for having an Eagles trend, I'm going with Jake Elliott. He finished 20th in kickers last year, which obviously isn't that great, but because the reason being that the Eagles were very low on their wide receivers because they were all hurt. But he's like almost a guarantee from 30 plus, and I think with the offense being better, he'll have a lot more opportunities on the other side of the 50.
I like that.
Yeah, definitely agree. Matt, who you got as your best kicker?
I'm going to take Jason Myers, the kicker for the Seattle Seahawks. He was on the Jets last year, and he made the Pro Bowl, but now that he's on a much better offense, they're going to score a lot more. So I think he has very good potential to finish number one.
Yeah, and I'm going to take Matt Prater here with Matt Stafford coming back from injury. I think Matt Prater could be the best fantasy kicker. He's usually top five, top 10. He can always hit those 50, 60-yard kicks that get you those 5 or 6 points. He's got a lot of upside, and I think that offense is going to be high scoring because their defense is pretty poor. So I think Matt Prater has some upside as a kicker this year. All right, let's move into some of the more fun positions aside from defense and kicker. Best tight end. We have some pretty spicy takes here, Q. I'll let you start off. It seems like you're a pretty big Dolphins fan.
Yeah, it's gonna sound like that. Yeah, it has sounded like that. But I'm gonna go with Mike Gesicki. I think I ranked him like
Special
maybe.
guest, my pops,
Special
in the
guest,
bottom
Bob
corner
Gill.
there.
I think I ranked him 12 or 13 for the season. He broke out towards the end of last year, 6 or more targets in 9 of those games, and he had 5 touchdowns to end the season. I think as long as Fitzpatrick stays the quarterback, which I don't know how possible that's going to be with Tua being their top pick. I think, I mean, regardless, rookie quarterback, his tight end is his best friend. So I think Mike Gesicki will be a top tight end this year, giving him the award.
All right, Matt, who do you have as your best tight end there?
I'm going to give a shout out to Schultz on this one, and I'm going to go Waller the baller. I think him having another year with Derek Carr is going to do him right because he already had a fantastic year last year, and I only think he's going to improve.
Yeah, I think Darren Waller's definitely got some upside. He could easily be number one. But my guy's going to be someone that's a little bit riskier. A shout out to my boy, Vince Chaffa. He's the biggest Noah fan I know. And I think Noah Fant could really end up being number one this year. He's got a lot of upside. Drew Lock in the second year in the system can put up some decent numbers for sure. And I think we saw some flashes last year with Noah Fant. He had some big plays down the field. He's one that can actually catch the ball and have some run after the catch. I think he's got some upside to be the number one tight end for
like
sure.
George Kittle.
Yeah. All right, on to the next one here. Getting down to the more interesting picks here. Best wide receiver. So obviously there's a lot of wide receivers out there. Michael Thomas was best last year, but let's go for some more dart throws here. I'll let you start it off, Q.
No, I think you should start off because you have the hottest out of these guys.
I'll start it off, but I think I have the
that.
least spicy take here. Kenny Galladay, I think he could easily be number one for sure.
That's hot.
Obviously it's hot. They're all supposed to be hot here, Q. Kenny Galladay. I've already got him ranked in my top 5. I think he's got the upside to be the number one wide receiver. After last season, he had 65 catches. I think he can get that number up closer to 100 balls, and he already had 1,200 yards and like 11 touchdowns last year. And with Matt Stafford, if he's able to stay healthy all season long, Kenny Galladay can really put up some numbers. And I really think he has the opportunity to be that legit number one wide receiver and cement himself as a top 5 wide receiver in the league this year. So I definitely could see that happening.
I mean, I'm still gonna take that as that's like 8 a.m. hot Cheetos hot.
Who eats hot Cheetos at 8 a.m.?
That's some Upper Darby shit.
Darby.
Yeah. But I'm gonna go Allen Robinson from the Chicago Bears. I think he is a must start weekly. He sees at least 8 or more targets a game and over 150 last year. And with a better quarterback, hopefully the Bears are smart and they start Foles over Trubisky. If that's the case, then you just have to start Allen Robinson each week because they replaced Anthony Miller, I think, with Ted Ginn, who's just old and not really relevant. So Allen Robinson is who I'm going with as my best wide receiver award.
Yeah, I don't think they replaced Anthony Miller. He's still there, but Ted Ginn's also going to be there, which might take away some targets. But yeah, Allen Robinson definitely has some upside, but I think your take's just a little bit hot for number one, but we'll see. Yeah. He's got some upside. All right, Matt, who's your guy?
I personally think I have the hottest take because my receiver isn't even the solid number one on his team yet, but I think by the end of this year, he definitely will be, and that's DK Metcalf.
All right.
I think last year he put up a very good fight for the number one position. I believe he outscored Lockett. I'm not sure.
Pretty close. I don't remember
exactly.
It was
pretty close. But I think he's just the bigger target. He's fast. He can get open downfield. And I think Russ, having him there is going to really allow him to throw the ball more and not allow the Seahawks to just be a run-dependent team like they used to be.
Yeah, I definitely think they still are going to air it out. They end up airing it out every year, even though they like to run the rock. So if DK Metcalf ends up taking away that job, like he could easily.
And he's a monster in the red zone.
Yeah,
they love looking at him in the end zone.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if he had 10 plus touchdowns. So, all right, let's move on to best running back. So obviously we know Christian McCaffrey is the best running back in the league, but who are some other guys that have some upside to be that number one running back? Q, I'll let you start off because I think you probably have the hottest take here for sure.
What? Carson Wentz, baby. Last year.
Running back. What are you talking about?
All right, Carson Wentz.
Who doesn't know what position Carson Wentz plays?
Carson Wentz needs to walk off the stage. So running back. I forget what position he plays. I'm gonna go with Le'Veon Bell. He was talked about heavily our running back episode about one of the older guys who are going to break out this year. I think he's going to have great numbers. If you caught that episode, you saw that T-Gods brought the stat up of his offensive lineman gaining lots of chemistry and a strong relationship over Warzone. So I think that And him finishing with RB2 numbers after such a slow season, if he at least can put up similar, which I don't think he will, I think he'll do a lot better. I think Le'Veon Bell will continue to climb his way back up to what he used to be.
I think Le'Veon Bell has a chance to be an RB1 again this year. The only thing that scares me is the Grim Reapers playing behind him this year and Frank Gore. Frank Gore is always stealing touches, stealing
He's such a
touchdowns.
vulture.
He's just always stealing fantasy points. And when you want Le'Veon Bell on the field, you end up seeing Frank Gore this year. It's going to be
Frank Gore.
That's going to be the only thing that's holding them back. Matt, all right, I know you got another old head as your running back, so
I have a lost soul. Everybody, someone seemed to forget about, and that's David Johnson. I think he's going to get a breath of fresh air in a new offense. I think him and Deshaun Watson are going to click well out of the backfield. And also the Texans receivers can't seem to ever stay healthy. I mean, they just got Brandon Cooks, but he's had his history of injuries. So I think they're going to rely on David heavily. And he already proved he could be a workhorse running back. He's elite catching out of the backfield. So I think he has a very strong case to finish number one.
Yeah, as long as
I don't know why you're
going
to say that I have the hottest take when he just said that.
I like David Johnson a little bit more than Le'Veon this year.
I mean, Le'Veon didn't have a game over 100 yards last year, so that is kind of hot.
Yeah, honestly, if Bill O'Brien's crazy enough to trade DeAndre Hopkins for David Johnson, he's got to want to use David Johnson. Yeah. Like, he's got to give him the ball as much as possible.
You don't get rid of that for David if you're not going to use him.
All right, my best running back, I think probably the least spicy out of these three is Austin Eckler. He's pretty much was elite last year until Melvin Gordon came back and started taking away some of his work. In like PPR scoring for sure, Austin Eckler had 92 catches last year, and I think that can go up to over 100 if he maintains that starting job all season long. And that's pretty much like a wide receiver one in your running back spot. So I think Austin Eckler catching 100 balls, if you can also get more consistent running the ball, he could easily finish number one this year, especially on an offense where there's really not that many weapons. Mike Williams is already banged up. Hunter Henry's usually banged up. He might end up getting hurt again. They do have Keenan Allen as their best pass catcher, but out of the backfield, there's not much competition. He's got Justin Jackson down there, and he's not really taking away that many snaps from him. So I think Austin Eckler is going to be an absolute workhorse, and I really think he has a shot to be the number one running back this year.
I'm sure Justin Jackson will somehow vulture his way into this. He always does.
Hey, Chargers running backs can produce. Remember, Danny Woodhead was a top 3 fantasy running back in PPR.
That's crazy.
I think Eckler can do it this year, even with Tyrod Taylor quarterback.
There is
Eckler a lot.
There is a Derek Gore on the Chargers. I don't know if that's bad news for those Chargers running backs.
Yeah, that actually might be
Gore
scary.
Vultures.
I don't think anyone wants Frank Gore anywhere near their fantasy running back anymore.
It's his nephew.
All right, we're getting into the bigger awards here. Let's just go right into it. Best quarterback. So obviously there's a lot of good quarterbacks this year. Quarterback's pretty deep. Who do you guys think has a shot to be that number one quarterback?
Carson Wentz, you can come back onto the stage now. But I was so excited to talk about him. I think he has possibility of finishing top 8. I think number 8, but top 5, I wouldn't be surprised either. He has a lot more weapons this year, and he still threw over 4K yards and almost 30 touchdowns with what he was given. The only receiver that was starting at the beginning of the season was Aguilar and Ertz. And you can't forget that he also has a running ability. I think that the amount of targets he'll throw, the passes he'll throw will go down as the Eagles defense did also improve. So maybe he won't be on the field as much or having to play from behind. But I think he'll be a lot more efficient with when he throws, putting him in top 5 territory.
Yeah, definitely think Carson Wentz has some upside for sure. I mean, he's just needs those wide receivers to stay healthy. We already saw Jalen Reagor's banged up now, but hopefully he can get back on the field and put up some numbers for Wentz.
He also has to stay healthy himself.
Yeah, as long as he can stay healthy too. He's got to be on the field to be able to put up those numbers.
Yes, sir.
All right, Matt, who's your take at quarterback?
Matty Ice.
Old.
Hot.
It's simmering. I like him. I think he has a top 5 receiving core in the league. And I also think that the addition of Todd Gurley also helps him out a lot, gives him more options. Devontae Freeman wasn't always there. He wasn't a reliable back. And also people forget that he was MVP just a couple years ago. So he definitely has the talent. And I think with a few key factors put in there, I think he has a chance to finish number 1.
Yeah, I think you picked them because of your name. You have the same name.
Runs in the blood, baby.
I think he actually has. He's going to be in a lot of shootouts too in that division
Yeah,
with the Saints, the
Atlanta always
Bucks.
seems to be playing from behind.
Yeah, the Saints, the Bucks, Panthers. He's going to be throwing the ball a ton in that division. It's
Yeah.
going to be super competitive. So
And I don't think their defense is the best either.
yeah. All right. And then obviously, I think you guys already know where I'm going with this. If you watched episode 1, Kyler Murray is going to be the NFL MVP this year. So he's
Wow.
obviously going to be the best quarterback for fantasy.
That's
Sean, you're on fire right now.
I'm
Please.
on Kyler Murray Island here.
That's
and
why
I'm
he's
just
got the red
partying
hat
by
on.
myself. I had a fantasy draft yesterday. I drafted Kyler Murray. He's my guy this year. He's the player I'm going to be drafting pretty much in every draft I can get my hands on him, as long as I'm not reaching too far, obviously. But I think he can ball out this season. If you get DeAndre Hopkins added and in your second year of an offense with a offensive-minded head coach that wants to air the ball out, Kyler Murray's going to put up numbers. He also has the dual threat ability as well as a better O-line this year as well. So, I mean, if you're looking at DeAndre Hopkins on one side, Christian Kirk, who's still pretty much getting better and better each year,
Ascending.
and Larry the legend in the slot, like Kyler Murray has to put up numbers this year. There's no way that he's not at least a top 5 quarterback. So I easily think he could finish number 1.
Definitely has all the weapons around him he needs. If he doesn't do it this year, then
He's a bust.
I don't know.
Yeah. All right, let's move into the best value pick. This player has to be outside the top 30 at their position. So I'll let Q start off here. This one's kind of an older fella.
I think I have the best. This is like the best value. You're getting him on sale right now. I'm going Julian Edelman. His ADP is
Clarence.
currently 75. I think
Straight face.
he's being devalued because of obviously the departure of Tom Brady and Cam Newton being in New England now. He did finish seventh last year in wide receiver scoring, mainly because Brady they threw over 600 times, and though Cam hasn't thrown for over 550, the exact number 517, I think the 34-year-old man can at least finish a high wide receiver 3, low wide receiver 2. I'd be very happy with him. Definitely in my flex. If he was in my wide receiver 2, I don't know. I wouldn't be the happiest, but to get him in round 7 would be a steal.
Yeah,
For sure.
definitely agree. Julian Edelman's still Julian Edelman. He's still going to catch as many passes as he can in that
He's
offense.
a PPR monster.
Bill Belichick wasn't just a Tom Brady fan. He loves Julian Edelman too. So,
Yeah.
Matt, who's your guy that's being a little bit slept on right now?
My guy is Michael Gallup. Considering that his counterpart, Amari Cooper, is being drafted like early to late second round, and Michael Gallup's being taken a couple rounds after him, with putting up just around the same numbers. Exactly. I think it's like he's the same player as Amari Cooper, but people just don't really want to they don't know the name as much.
Yeah, so there might be a name
thing.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
I would definitely, because last year he had basically identical numbers.
Yeah, I definitely think he's being slept on at wide receiver 31. He could easily be your wide receiver 2, and you'd be set for the season.
I think he has a good chance to finish in top 20.
As long as CeeDee Lamb doesn't cut into his work, but I know you're going to have another take about that pretty soon here.
Yes, sir.
My best value pick has to be Brandon Cooks. He's being drafted as wide receiver 37, and I think he's the best wide receiver on his team right now. Obviously, Will Fuller's got some upside, but I think Will Fuller's always hurt. I think he ends up getting banged up here. Brandon Cooks has been a top 10 wide receiver in fantasy. He's been top 15 multiple seasons. I think he could easily put up some big numbers this year with Deshaun Watson at quarterback. Deshaun Watson's already building a rapport with him in camp. I think easily Brandon Cooks could end up being a top 20 guy where he's being drafted pretty much in like the 8th or 9th round. So Brandon Cooks has to be my guy for sure.
I think Matt's still feeling the heat. You guys are in the same house, still feeling the heat from Sean's hot ass take.
Yeah, it's hot in here, man. I can't lie. I had to turn the air off.
All right, on to the next one here. This one's a little bit more interesting. Most improved player. Q, I'll let you start this off. I know you love this guy, but I don't know if he's going to be the most improved player for me.
I loved him until I drafted him, and after the year before when he was with AB and he was could have been a wide receiver 1 with the numbers he was putting up. It may have been similar to Brown. I'm not too sure, but it seemed like that. Ben definitely loved him as Brown was targeted or covered heavily. I think this year, as long as Ben can stay healthy, and now Deontay Johnson with his up and coming skill, which we will be talking about next, I think that Juju will definitely be proving himself that he can be a wide receiver one on the Steelers, if not in the NFL.
Yeah, just want to see him prove it. And honestly, if Big Ben stays healthy all year, he could easily be a wide receiver one. All right, Matt, who's your most improved player this year?
Uh, a guy that had a very down year, and people are getting on his case about it, OBJ. And no, it is not because of his one-handed catch a couple years ago, Sean, you hater. He is one of the more talented receivers in the league. I think another year with Baker under his belt is going to help him a lot. They could have built a lot more chemistry over the offseason. And I know Sean's boyfriend, Jarvis Landry's on the other side. And I think that kind of helps him because, I mean, you can't just really focus on Odell because you also have that threat on the other side. So
bigger threat.
Okay, relax. But I think he's going to find a lot more space in the defenses this year. There's no way he has a down year like last year again. Too much talent.
As long as Baker doesn't throw with his eyes closed again, I think OBJ
as long as Gator doesn't draft him, he'll be all right.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone's benefited from another year with Baker, so we'll see with this one.
Baker's only been in the league like 3 years.
No one stayed. Well,
all right, my most improved player is Raheem Mostert. He showed some big flashes last year at San Francisco as one of their featured backs. He was kind of in and out of the lineup with Tevin Coleman mixing in and whatnot. And I know Jerick McKinnon's coming back, but I think Raheem Mostert asserts himself as the number one running back on the 49ers this year. And on that offense where they love to run the ball, I think Raheem Mostert's going to solidify himself as one of the top running backs in the league. And I think he can really show it. He's always shown flashes throughout his career, even when he was on the Eagles as a rookie coming out of Oregon. I think he really has some upside. I think Raheem Mostert could easily be a top 15 running back this year.
That's sad because I love Tevin Coleman. He was a baller last year until Mostert broke out because he was hurt.
Yeah,
but I love.
Yeah, Tevin Coleman. Obviously, I think he's still going to have some part in that offense, but I think he's going to be more of like the goal line, like first down carry kind of guy. I think Raheem Mostert's going to be mixed in a lot more than Tevin Coleman is. Yeah, he can do a lot more. He's kind of like a jack of all trades.
Get the receiving looks out of the backfield.
Yeah, for sure. All right, on to the next one here. The next award we'll be giving out, second year breakout. So what player do you think coming out of after their rookie season is going to break out this season and really solidify themselves as an elite player? Q, I'll let you start off. I know you talked about him a little bit last episode.
So Deontay Johnson just talked about him with Juju, but I think last year he didn't really see any decrease in production, even with Big Ben out, and then even with the helmet guy out. When it went down to Duck Hodges, I think, for all around Steelers receivers, I think they're going to have a big improvement this year as long as Big Ben is throwing the ball. But I'm taking him. He had at least 20 points in 3 of the last 5 games, or towards the end of the season, he really went off. Even when Juju was out, in and out between the last 6 games or 4 games. But yeah, Deontay Johnson is who I think is going to break out as a high wide receiver 2 this year.
You think the Steelers offense is going to be elite?
Except for James Conner.
Like Le'Veon and Antonio Brown all of a sudden got
rejected.
James Conner?
No, I hate that man. I know he's good. I can't stand him.
All right, so they're just going to pass the ball every play. No running the ball for the Steelers this year, according to Q.
No, Benny Snell's the new Le'Veon Bell. Benny Snell, the new Le'Veon.
Wow.
Yikes. That's a spicy take.
That is a spicy take.
All right, Matt, who's your second-year breakout? This guy actually had a pretty good season last year.
Yeah, he's one of the more obvious choices. I'm going to go Terry McLaurin of the Washington football team. Yeah, like Sean already said, he had a great year last year. I only think he's going to just feed off of that. He has another year under his belt. I think that helps everyone. Like, the more experience you have, the better you're going to get. And I think he has a very good chance of finishing top 20, if not top 15 this year. I don't really see any more offensive threats on that team. Now that Jordan Reed's gone, they have AP, who's like 64 in the backfield.
Vernon Davis.
Yeah.
64 on the line.
I think, they're just going to contribute to the turf, and Terry McLaurin's going to get most of the offensive yards on that team this year.
Yeah, he's already been making some crazy plays in camp, too. He had that diving catch was insane. I think he's going to break out this year. He's definitely got some upside.
The only respectable, scary Terry. Terry
Yeah,
Rozier.
he's not scary anymore.
Yeah.
All right. My guy, I talked about him a little bit last week, Paris Campbell. I think he's one that can really break out this year. Obviously, his season was cut short last year due to injury. I think Paris Campbell has a lot of upside, especially now with Philip Rivers at quarterback. He's going to be slinging the ball in this offense, and the Colts, especially if they're down, which Philip Rivers always finds himself down. I think Paris Campbell is going to be open a lot. He was pretty elite in college 2 years ago. People are pretty much forgetting about him because he was hurt last year, so no one's thinking about him coming out as a rookie anymore. I think he really breaks out this year and could put up some solid flex numbers, even wide receiver too, if he ends up being as involved, especially if TY goes down too. So Paris Campbell has to be my second-year breakout.
I love him.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right, let's get into a little bit more negative here. Overhyped rookie. So obviously right now there's a lot of hype about running a couple of running backs and a couple of wide receivers. Matt, I'm going to let you start off on this one because I know Q wants to pretty much go off in about a minute here. So.
I'm going to throw the trophy at this guy.
All right, Matt, who's your overhyped rookie?
My overhyped rookie is another Cowboys receiver, and that is CeeDee Lamb. Just because of the fact, like I said, he also has Michael Gallup and Amari Cooper there. He's not going to see as many touches, and Zeke is also in the backfield. They love feeding him. I see Zeke getting like at least 20 touches a game. So that's just more touches that he's not going to see. I see him finishing at best 65 catches with like 650 yards, 700 yards, right around there.
But they're all supposed to get 1K.
No. That's not happening. There's no way.
65 catches is a lot too. I don't think I'd probably put him more around like 40 catches. I think he's more of a big play guy. So like probably like 40, 50 catches, like 700 yards, something like that at best. Yeah.
That's a lot of yards per catch there, Sean.
He's a deep threat. So I think he could easily catch some long balls. But other than that, yeah, I think he's going to be used more in like, he's not going to be on the field every play.
Yeah.
They're not going to be in 3 wide receiver sets every play. So
for sure.
I think that's a good bet. All right, Q, I'll let you go before I get into mine. So go right ahead.
I would not be afraid to give this man the award. I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire is easily going to be the most overhyped and
I agree.
Least productive rookie. Maybe not least productive, but
least productive.
He's not going to, I don't think, now the more that I think about it daily or when we do these podcasts, I'm like, I don't think he's going to, the first episode I said, or second, I said he's going to finish top 10. I don't think he finishes top 10. He thought of too highly because he's on the Chiefs and his quarterback is a god. He deserves some respect. He did come out. He was a good college player, but in reality, he's a rookie. There's no preseason, so he has no in-game experience. I think that's going to take a huge hit on the first couple weeks, at least. He's way too hyped. And the Peter Schrager thing with him being taken first overall, he needs to be removed from Good Morning Football.
Yeah, that's absurd.
I'll get into my take on Clyde Edwards-Helaire in a little bit. Don't you worry.
First round for a rookie is just very steep for me. I can't put that trust in.
Unless your name is Jesus.
Well, I mean, last couple of years, we've seen first-round rookie running backs put up some numbers. Saquon, when he was a rookie, Christian McCaffrey.
That's Saquon.
And also Zeke Elliott, when he was drafted. Clyde Edwards-Helaire was the first running back off the board. I don't see why he can't put up some numbers. But I'll get into it a little bit more. We'll talk about my overhyped rookie. I think Cam Akers is getting a little overhyped only because everyone is forgetting that Darrell Henderson Jr. exists. Last year, everyone was hyped about Darrell Henderson Jr. because he was the rookie on the Rams after Todd Gurley was not supposed to play as often. So he was actually being drafted pretty much where Cam Akers is being drafted now, which is a little bit absurd. I think people are kind of forgetting that he could have another impact on this backfield, especially with Todd Gurley gone. I think he's definitely going to get some of the work in that backfield. And I think Cam Akers is climbing up draft boards pretty quickly. I think he's being drafted almost like top 25 running back at this point, which is a little bit too hot for me. I think Cam Akers is going to end up more as like a bye week fill-in at best this year. I don't think he's going to have that upside as to where I think Darrell Henderson Jr. and they still have Malcolm Brown. I think those guys are really going to mix in well, and I don't think it's going to be one consistent guy every week. So Cam Akers is my overhyped rookie.
Nobody's a fan of committee backfields.
Yeah, I didn't think there was a running back committee that I hated more than the Bills, but it might now be the Rams.
Yeah, the Rams running backs are scary. And
how
Sean
about the Patriots?
We don't want to get into the Patriots backfield.
They
they might be the worst. Yeah. Sean McVay also said that he's pretty much just going to ride the hot hand. So whatever running back's doing best is probably going to end up on the field the most each game, and that could be different every week.
Yeah,
so
it's a toss-up.
just too scary for me. I think he's going to end up being overhyped. All right, let's move into our last few here. Bold stat takes. Who do you guys who? What are some crazy stats that you think could happen this year? I'm talking like overboard, out of pocket. Matt, I'll let you start it off.
All right. I firmly believe that Patrick Mahomes is capable of breaking the NFL record for touchdown passes thrown this year. He has all the weapons around him that he needs. He has all the talent in the world. He can throw it to the receivers without even looking at them. I mean, he's a human cheat code. It's unfair. So I think that he definitely can break Peyton Manning's record this year and throw the NFL record for most touchdowns.
That's spicy. Does that justify drafting him in the first round?
First round, no way. Nothing justifies drafting a quarterback in the first round.
If you know he's going to throw 56 touchdowns, then that's a lot of points.
All right.
65,000 yards, whatever he said earlier.
All right, I'll give you my spicy take here. I'm going to go against Matt's take for Odell Beckham Jr. I'm going to say Jarvis Landry asserts himself as the number one wide receiver on the Browns. I think he has over 100 catches this year with over 1,300 receiving yards, which will be the highest in his career, and 10-plus touchdowns. So that can be a little bit of anything. I know he catches some punts and whatnot, and sometimes he'll run the ball and like end arounds, but I think he has 10-plus touchdowns. And I think OBJ has yet another down year, only catches around 65 balls for 1,000 yards and 5 touchdowns at best. I think Jarvis Landry truly asserts himself on that Browns team as their number one wide receiver. Him and Baker have had a rapport now for a couple of years, and I think that's really going to stand out this year. That's my hot stat take.
I like it. I don't think it's too hot.
That was hot. That just made me sweat even more, Sean.
And I'm sticking with my hot take. That was had people throwing tomatoes at my window after I made it. But Julio over MT. I think MT's production drops down maybe 50% when it comes to receptions with Emmanuel Sanders there and old Drew Brees. And with the Falcons not having a solid running back, because I don't know how to feel about Gurley, I think that Julio will at least finish with 1,700 receiving yards.
I'm at a loss for words.
Wow.
Calvin Ridley, who?
Wow.
I'm just kidding.
It's just going to be the Julio show. All right.
Wow.
He deserves some respect.
1,700 yards.
All the respect.
Solid season.
No, he is not. He still gets. Look at you guys disrespected him.
Julio could definitely do it. I just need him to catch more passes and more touchdowns. I have him ranked
number 2. Sorry, he's not number 1. Q.
Apology accepted.
Yeah. All right, let's move into our final 3. We'll start with Rookie of the Year. Q, I'll let you start this one off.
Rookie of the Year. Wait. Oh, Rookie of the Year. Okay. I'm going with
Rookie of the Year, Q.
Yeah, Q.
J.K. Dobbins. I think I saw that Ingram's on an expiring contract, so the Ravens, I don't know if they plan on re-signing him, but they could just be looking for the future, and that's playing Dobbins more so you can get more experience being the first guy in Baltimore. He's also getting a lot older, Ingram is, and Dobbins came out of college with amazing receiving ability, which is something that I don't think Ingram has, and he's been seen and practice making some impressive catches. So I think J.K. Dobbins will be Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah, I think you could definitely be it.
All right.
Wow.
1% doubt.
All right, I'm going to take Jonathan Taylor for my Rookie of the Year. I think he's going to take over the Colts backfield by week 4, really assert himself there. I think he'll improve as a pass catcher throughout the season as well, which will help his value. And I also think he really just proved himself. Marlon Mack's going to end up being kind of like a change of pace guy. Nyheim Hines will be mixed in very scarcely. I think Jonathan Taylor's talent is too elite to keep off of the football field. As you saw at Wisconsin, he was insane. So I think he's going to be the fantasy Rookie of the Year for me.
I like him a lot. I still think Marlon Mack is going to play too big of a role in Indianapolis.
He's still going to be there.
We'll see. All right, Matt.
My Rookie of the Year, as Q would say, I'm in the pocket like Burrow.
Yeah.
I think as long as AJ Green can stay healthy and he still has Tyler Boyd there, he has a lot of weapons to sling it down the field. AJ Green has always been one of the better deep threats in the NFL. Tyler Boyd was taking the top off of defenses all year last year. He has Joe Mixon behind him, which I think helps a lot. And I just think he has all the ingredients to really cook this year.
Yeah, I think he's obviously the favorite to be rookie of the year in general. There's not much competition at quarterback to be that rookie of the year. But Tua's not starting week one. Joe Burrow is obviously starting week one, so I think he's going to put up some numbers. All right, into the final two here. We'll start with the least valuable player. Who do you guys think will be the fantasy player that's being drafted right now in most leagues that will end up being
It's about to
huge
get
bust?
hot.
A huge bust.
Especially you two, definitely. I hate Sean's take, but I'll go first. I'm gonna go David Montgomery. I think that's an easy one. I think he's already dealing with some injury issues that can be considered serious, and Cohen seems to always be shining, taking advantage of the time that when the running back one is out. So I think with that, these injuries, I don't love Montgomery at all, and I think he's going to finish as a bottom tier running back, because since he's coming out of the year already injured or coming into the year, yeah, David Montgomery.
Yeah, I think the injury definitely hinders his value for sure. I think Tariq Cohen's going to end up getting a lot of the work, and Dave Montgomery's scary. So yeah, he could easily be fantasy least valuable player if you're drafting him as your RB2. I wouldn't do it. All right, Matt, what's your take here?
I hate to do it to you, Bart, but I'm taking Nick Chubb.
Nick Chubb. All right.
Yes, I told you it was about to get hot.
Eesh.
But I think Kareem being there and Nick Chubb being drafted early mid-second round is just absurd. Like I said before, nobody likes a committee backfield, and it could be them going with the high hand every week, and who's to say that one of them can really run off with the starting job. So I just think his production is going to go down significantly because it went down when Kareem came back in week 8 last year. So I just think that's going to carry over into this year, and he's not going to be what everyone expects him to be.
I'm definitely with you on that take, especially if he doesn't add anything in the passing game. Kareem Hunt's really
or the kicking game.
Back.
That was a good one, Q.
Kareem Hunt doesn't really add anything. I mean, Kareem Hunt obviously adds something. He adds the receiving element there. Nick Chubb really doesn't have that. So I think I would agree with you. I think he could really be the least valuable player this year, especially where he's being drafted.
Yeah,
I think he's being overdrafted for sure.
The ADP is definitely way too high.
Yeah.
Too high. All right, I'm coming in with my spicy take here. Rob Gronkowski, least valuable player. He's going to be drafted in pretty much every league, and he's being overdrafted pretty much every league. He's being drafted almost in the 5th, 6th, 7th round, and he's someone I'm really not even targeting this year. I know he's got that rapport with Brady, but after sitting out a whole year of football, that just concerns me a lot. He's been away from the game. He lost a lot of weight. He's got to get ready back into football shape, as well as also competing with O.J. Howard, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin for targets, as well as Shady will probably be the primary receiving back out of the backfield. So I think as much as Brady loves him, I think Brady's going to get him a couple touchdowns here or there. I think he's going to be really touchdown dependent. He's not going to get you that volume that you need as a tight end. I think he's going to be a scary pick, and he's someone I'm avoiding in pretty much all of my drafts.
I was worried that you were going to say that he has to compete with Cameron Brate. That would have been a problem.
No, he's got to compete with O.J. Howard still. As much as he had a down year last year, I think he's still going to be involved. He's still going to be on the field pretty much every play. So just scares me. I'm not a huge fan of Rob Gronkowski this year.
Yeah,
I am.
either.
I'd be surprised
if
top 6? Spicy. Now that's spicy.
Spicy. I'd be surprised if he finished all 16 games this year.
Yeah, that too. He's always had injury issues, so it scares me a little bit. I just don't feel comfortable drafting Rob Gronkowski in any league.
Me either.
There's other guys that I like better.
Backup tight end.
Say what you want.
But
That's
when
my
has
take.
Matt Pearson ever taken a backup tight end?
Matt Pearson doesn't take backup quarterbacks either. All right. Let's wrap it up here with the most important award, Fantasy MVP, Most Valuable Player. All right, I think we'll start off with Q again here. Q, go ahead. Who's your Fantasy MVP this year?
Lay it
I'm
down.
going to take Derrick Henry. I don't think it's too hot. He's the star of his team. The same team as last year. The same quarterback who doesn't have much. I don't see him throwing the ball much. I think they'll constantly be pounding the rock, and I think he has a chance of taking over McCaffrey's first ranking from last year, because now McCaffrey's on a more balanced team, better quarterback, better receiving talent. I just think that Teddy Bridgewater is going to mess up, or at least diminish some of CMC's talent, or not talent, but his production week in and week out. So I think Derrick Henry is the MVP.
Yeah, Derrick Henry's definitely got a shot. The only thing that scares me is the lack of receptions. Deion Lewis is gone. We now know that. So,
Yeah.
so I do
Shout
think
out to
he
Sherm
could.
Wow for that one.
Shout out Sherm.
I do think he could be more involved, but it still just scares me a little bit.
I
Matt,
think-
go ahead.
I was just gonna say I think they're gonna get Derrick Henry a little more involved in the passing game this year.
Yeah, I definitely could see it. I just don't know how good of a receiver he is.
Someone's got to be Deion Lewis.
Yeah. Anytime he catches the ball, I feel like he goes for a 75-yard touchdown.
That's what happened last year. He had like 20 catches, but like 200 yards. All right, Matt, I'll let you go before I go with my fantasy MVP here.
Alrighty, my fantasy MVP will be Alvin Kamara.
Okay, all right.
I think that Latavius Murray isn't really going to take too many looks away from him this year. And I think that defenses are definitely going to be a lot more alert about Michael Thomas and the receiving core. So I don't think that they're going to be slinging the ball as much this year. And Alvin Kamara has already proved that he's a top-tier running back in this league. He's elite receiving out of the backfield. He can run it. They look for him on the goal line. I just think he's all around productive, and that by itself is a very good case to put him at number one this year.
I still hate him.
I like Alvin
That's fine,
Kamara too.
Q.
I'm
you
with
can
you.
hate him all you want.
And that report came out that he was banged up last year and still finished top 10. So I easily think
Excuses.
he
Yeah.
could be number one.
That's
Yeah,
not
he's
an
definitely got
excuse,
upside.
Q.
Don't play if you're hurt.
Well,
I'll have him week one, and I'll kick your butt.
I'll see you week one.
All right. My fantasy MVP obviously would be Kyler Murray, but I already took him as my best quarterback, and I still think he's got a shot to be fantasy MVP. But I'm going to take another guy here that Q hates, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. That's
Hey,
going to be
Matt's
my
on the same boat.
that's going to be
That's
my
horrible.
fantasy MVP this year.
Horrible.
You guys are still asleep on him for some reason. He's on the best offense in football as the sole running back on that team. How is he not going to succeed? Andy Reid running backs put up numbers.
If he is
That's
a
what's gonna
Kareem
happen.
week one, I'll wake up.
Exactly. Kareem Hunt, we saw it a
If-
couple years ago.
if-
Andy Reid offense as
If
the
he has
sole
a
running
Peyton
back.
Hillis week one.
You put up numbers. And Clyde
That'll
Edwards-Helaire
get
was
him on the Madden cover.
he was the first running back drafted last year as a first-round running back. I can't not see him finishing at least as a top 10 running back. I think he's definitely got the upside to be fantasy MVP this year. That's my guy.
I feel like just the basic fact that he's on the best offense in football and he's the only running back, he's bound to have production, but I don't think he's going to have as much production as everyone thinks he is.
I just can't see him not. He's going to be involved. They're not really going to switch him out too much. Andy Reid likes that one running back mindset. So
Right. It's tough. Tough
he's
to
already
call.
shown flashes in camp too, so I'm excited about him. He's my fantasy MVP this year.
There's
That's my take.
everything to be excited about. I just can't bring myself to
Yeah.
live up to the
Prove
hype.
me wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we're just getting on a Q's joke here. Let's just wrap it up.
Disappointing.
Yeah, I'm definitely a little disappointed, but oh well. All right, Q, wrap it up. Let's hear your joke of the week.
All right. Last week may have been the best one, or like Wednesday. It wasn't last week. But this week, how do you find Will Smith in the snow?
I don't know. How do you find Will Smith in the snow?
Matt's thinking, but I really hope he doesn't pick it out.
You know I'm good at these. I need to think a little.
It's not a riddle, it's a joke.
No shit. I don't know.
Look for the Fresh Prince.
Oh.
Okay.
I like last week's better.
Alright,
I got it.
alright.
I got it. But it took me a second to figure it out. So that's why it wasn't as
Follow
funny.
the Fresh Prince. Okay.
Prince. Haha. Got it.
Snow Prince.
Tarian Prince.
All right, guys. Well, we will definitely be live. We will definitely be live
It-
again this Wednesday. We'll be doing a live mock draft.
Don't
keep
miss
an eye.
it.
Keep an eye on the Instagram. You'll have the opportunity to join that live mock draft with us and go through each pick. We'll be talking through our picks and who we like and how our teams look. And you guys will have a chance to vote on who has the best team after the draft. So
Yep.
tune in next week on Wednesday. Follow the Instagram, follow the Twitter, and just stay up for updates. We'll be live. All
And
right,
this
That'll
was a click
probably
on.
be our
This
most
was a clip on
interactive
tie.
podcast next week.
yeah, definitely be
most
interactive. So
interactive.
I want everybody to be there.
It'll be fun.
All right,
Trust me.
guys, that's a wrap.